Welcome to Why Such a Fuss, an exciting new channel dedicated to help individuals and businesses to learn more about data protection in a way that is easy and engaging. I'm Christina from CVG Solutions, and I am a fully qualified data protection professional. I am passionate about educating, empowering, and enabling businesses to thrive. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel and help us to spread the word. Data protection is there for a reason. It protects you, your family, loved ones, customers, employees from coming to harm through the use of personal data. So make sure you click subscribe. Now, get ready to embark on a journey of growth and knowledge as we dive into the world of data protection. I'm joined once again by Steph Elliott, digital engineer, GDPR and e-privacy professional. Hello, Steph, and thank you for joining us again.
No problem.
Now, Steph, in our previous episode, we covered what cookies and pixels are, and I really like the way you explained them. It was a very simple way to describe them that anyone can understand, even me that I'm not very technical. So carrying on with our theme, in today's episode, I wanted to cover how cookies are used by businesses in a way that they think the benefit from it. So what are the benefits, I suppose, what I'm trying to ask, that a business will have from that, from cookies?
That's fine, and not a problem, Christine. The thing with it's interesting. You asked the question regarding web owners and why they have cookies. I think you potentially need to turn that around slightly different and say, for a web owner, why do you have functionality on your website, and what is the result of you having the chosen technology you use to provide that functionality? What are the risks that you potentially expose yourself to, your business to? I've worked in digital for a number of years, and I've worked in marketing, and every marketing department says our website is fantastic, it's unique, it's the best thing out there since sliced bread. Realistically, most websites are like the Swiss Army knife. They all have some functionality, some basic functionality. They might have different colors. You know, it might be a red Swiss Army knife versus a green Swiss Army knife. It might have a knife functionality, which is the brochure that it's got there. It might have a component for a set of scissors. It might have an email sign up form. It might have a bottle opener, as in it might have some analytics functionality. You have lots of functionality that makes up the website. And what happens is that as a web designer has a choice really when they're building the website. You can either go to different technology providers, but they all have similar sort of capability. Because what you have is that you either build the components of your website, you buy the components of your website, or you borrow the components of your website. And if I give you an example of that, most websites will be structured with three components of technology. HTML, the hypertext markup language, which will have the components of what the website is. It's the sort of the underlying code. You'll have CSS, cascading style sheets, which is what the website looks like. This is what determines the fonts. It's what determines the colors. And then you'll have JavaScript, which is what determines the interactivity, which is what enables you to have interactions with consumers when they're on your website without calling back to the server. The reason I say buy, build, and borrow is that if you have something like an email sign-up form, you'll most probably buy that or potentially borrow that. When I say buy, you'll pay for the service, and the provider will provide you with a piece of code that's linked into a back-end functionality that means that you can present a sign-up form on your website. That will then enable you to capture the information, but offline you'll have the ability to communicate with your audience via email newsletters. Now that can be bought or it can be borrowed. That is the same with most bits of technology. If you've got a component such as one of the big platforms, say for example, you want to integrate your website into your Facebook campaigns, you might choose to use something called the Meta Pixel, which will enable you to then retarget potentially people on the platform. That's effectively a borrowed piece of technology. You are not paying for it, you are borrowing it, but when you borrow it, the borrower is enabled to then utilize some of the data that you provide through the provision of that service. So there's a trade-off between and then paying for something without a financial reward.
Right. Oh, that's very interesting. Oh, okay. So from a business perspective, what are the benefits that I get by using the cookies? Apart from obviously the website functioning, so perhaps I'm referring to the non-essential cookies that we touched a little bit in the previous episode. Yeah.
The benefits are that you will get functionality. So, for example, if you've got an email sign up, it means that you can very quickly put onto your website a piece of code that collects that email. You could build that yourself, but the website is. There's a lot of talk in website design into something called dry technology. Don't repeat yourself. So don't invent something that's already there. So people will go onto websites and they will use pre-packed pieces of code. They will use libraries to get components. Most websites are built from, if you go onto sort of WordPress sites, you've got templates that enable you to build a website.
Yeah.
There's a speed component versus a diligence about what the website is doing.
Right. Okay. And so from an end user perspective, a visitor, in terms of the benefits, what are my benefit as a visitor in terms of obviously the essential cookies? I get it, because obviously that allows the website to do what it needs to do. So if I, put something in the shopping cart, or I mark something as my favorite, for example, wish list, whatever they're called. So so that's very useful to me as a visitor. But what are the non-essential cookie doing for me in terms of benefit as a user? Do I get anything out of it, or is it just for the benefit of the business?
I think it's important to recognise that there's two components of the law here that are interplaying. You've got the e-privacy component and you've got the GDPR component. As a user of a website, I benefit from there being a robust, competitive, commercial landscape, a marketplace that I can experience. The GDPR is not an either or. It's a sort of, it protects the rights of individuals, but it also places obligations on a business, whilst also meeting their right to make profit. So there are benefits of cookies for this. So, for example, if I go onto a website and it facilitates you as a business owner to maintain a competitive service, you might use analytics to utilize that. I don't have a problem personally with that, for you to utilize that. And if you were to utilize that in an anonymous form, fine with me. If you were to utilize my data to link it for third-party advertising for retargeting, I don't have a problem with that if you tell me. And I think that's where we've fallen into this almost like situation where the transparency of what's going on has fallen into some degree of opacity, which I find difficult for people to understand.
Yes. Yeah. And the cookie pop-up consent also doesn't make it any easier either in terms of that transparency, because again, it's confusing or it doesn't provide the correct options. And so, so that's another episode altogether in its own right.
Christina, I would ask the question, and this is maybe a bit controversial. Why do people have cookie banners? The reason people have cookie banners is not to tell consumers of the cookies they're setting. It's to protect themselves because they don't know what cookies they're setting. So as a controller, you've lost control. We utilize, I use the phrase, most websites have what I call is a cookie categorization tool. It's a retrospective piece of work where they look at the cookies that are being set on their website and then sweep up. There should be a thing here which is, in my view, tag governance. So you understand what functionality you're setting, as a basis of the functionality you're setting, what cookies you should be setting, and then you put in place a cookie notification, and whether that be to inform or to request consent for the processing you're doing.
That sounds very logical and easy. I don't see any barrier to that. But the question is, why aren't they doing? And I don't know whether we have the answer to that question, but it's why are web designers or marketeers not doing that? What's stopping them? I guess some it's ignorance. I guess some they don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
In some respect, but also I think it's a way of hiding the truth because it serves them. And I suppose that's more the marketing side.
I think also that there is a responsibility here for the technology providers to have a degree of transparency. Christina, I know you, as a data protection professional, you will often have run through DPIAs, and you start off with data flow diagrams, and you start off with looking at the plumbing, so to speak, the pipe work that's in place. If you go and look at any of the major technology providers and try to understand the processing, the potential risks that you use to understand any DPIA and therefore put in place mitigating actions, it's very complex. It's often spread over multiple pages. It's written in technical speak rather than in human language that identifies that. There's a lot of work to be done, in my opinion, I might have been harsh to website designers, but I think sometimes it's very difficult for them to translate the myriad of information that's provided.
Yes. And yeah, I don't know what the answer is, to be honest, apart from keep at it, sending the message, this kind of podcast and social media and you talking to the regulator and all of that.
I would add up one other thing, which is I think this comes down again to businesses like yours are essential here for businesses to maintain. There's a phrase in the GDPR which is called state of the art. So that many businesses look at GDPR and say, all right, I've reviewed this technology and I've put this piece of technology on my website and it was, say, 4 years ago. And you don't set a review date for looking at it and putting that in place. You will find with technology providers that they upgrade their technology. So the big one is actually today as well, or the 4th of July is coming up. Universal Google Analytics is going to sunset. And now you've got GA4. Now, I doubt there are many people who have seen the email that's come from Google over the past couple of years to a web designer who said, we're doing this. And the web designers said, oh, actually, I've got to go and speak to this business and tell them about this. And then that business has said, well, we've got to review the technology implications of this and our DPIA. That's where you come to this concept of state of the art.
Yes. Agreed. Steph, thank you ever so much for joining us again. Can you remind our audience how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm available on LinkedIn either through Steph Elliott is a sign on there, or through 6 7 Men. I run a LinkedIn channel which has got information and more videos on these sort of things, or through my website, 6sm.co.uk.
Thank you very much, Steph. And I would like to remind our audience, if you like this video, to please give us a thumbs up and also click on subscribe to ensure you don't miss any future episode. If you would like to get in touch with me, you can find me on various social medias, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search for CVG Solutions, or you can email me at info@cvgsolutions.co.uk.